Okay, so today I'm going to be talking on Canto 8, Chapter 21. So before I start, I'll just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see. Uh, okay, so it's going to be Canto 8, Chapter 21. And so before, okay, so before we start, we'll just start with the Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोश्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे रामा राम रामा हरे Thank you, everyone. Right. Okay. So to uh, start this presentation, I'll I'll do the presentation in the following format. So firstly, I will talk about the chapter summary in story form, and then we will talk about some key philosophical verses and the lessons that we can learn from this chapter. So my main aim in this presentation is to see what we can extract into our daily practice rather than just go into the story form, because I know almost everybody on this call knows the story. But it's important to extract whatever we can that we can put into our practice, and and we'll have some times for questions and discussions at the end. So coming to the chapter summary, so I'll briefly tell the chapter summary, although, as I said, I know that most of you know the story. So it's been divided into five subheadings. So first is the cosmic ascent uh, of um, uh, Lord Vamanadev. So basically, as you know, that Lord Vamanadev took his first step. He asked for three steps from Lord Bali Maharaj, and he took the first step. He covered all the planetary system from the Bhuloka and downwards to all the lower planetary regions. With his second step, his foot reached the highest planes of the universe, that is Satyaloka. Satyaloka is where Lord Brahma is there. So basically, when the foot reached the plains of Satyaloka, in Brahmaloka, what happens is that the sunlight usually doesn't reach up to the Satyaloka. There, the effulgence is all because every person is effulgent. So there is the natural effulgence in Satyaloka. But actually, when the Lord's toenails reached there, the effulgence from the Lord's toenails was from the Lord's foot and the toes was so immense that it outshone the light of Brahma's abode. And it is said, as an analogy, we can think that there are so many candles in Satyaloka, and Lord's foot or toe nails effulgence was almost equal to a sun. So sunlight in front of candlelight, you can see that's the sort of analogy that we can think of. And once the foot reached there, what happened was that the our universe is covered by the seven layers: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, ego. So that's the eight layers. And basically, what happened is that the Lord's toe pierced through these coverings of the universe, and some of the Karana water entered through this hole that was created, and Lord Brahma collected this water as it was seeping through the covering of the universe. He collected it in his pot, or the kamandalu, and he used that water to again wash the Lord's feet, and that same water became the holy river Ganga, and which flows through the heavens and it purifies all the three worlds. So this is the first part which is covered. The second aspect is the Asuras. On seeing this, they got a bit annoyed because Bali Maharaj is under the vow of the sacrifice, so he cannot. He's not going to pick up a fight, saying that Lord Vamana has cheated him. So they felt that. Bali Maharaj is very quiet, but we can't be quiet. We know that this Brahmin boy, who is actually Lord Vishnu in disguise, and he has used the pretext of taking the 3 steps, and he has in the 2 steps he has reclaimed everything that Bali Maharaj owns. So the Asuras picked up their weapons and planned to attack Lord Vaman Dev. However, they were quickly intercepted and outmatched by the Vishnu's eternal commanders, such as Nanda, Sunanda, and Garuda. So who means this? It is said in the text that they possess the strength of 1,000 elephants. So basically, they are very strong. All the commanders of Lord Vishnu, and they easily defeated the Asuras. Then at this stage, Lord Bali, seeing this, seeing that his army was on the verge of destruction, Lord King Bali intervened, and he said that there is no point, dear Asuras, to fight against Lord Vishnu and to fight against the Devatas at this point, because the Kala, that is the time or destiny, is probably against us. The providence is totally against us. The time is not favorable for us. Previously, we had defeated this Devatas, but right now, I think the time is not in our favor, so there is no point in fighting. So he convinced them that there's no point in fighting. And so at this stage, Lord Vamanadev, he asks Bali Maharaj that see, you have promised me 3 steps. In 2 steps, I've covered everything that you own or possess. So now you can't possibly offer anything else to me. So you cannot fulfill your promise. And somebody who has promised anything to the Brahmanas, if he cannot fulfill the promise, then he should go to hell. And seeing this, he ordered, or rather, Garuda actually understood the Lord's wish, and he tied up Bali Maharaj with the celestial ropes of Varuna. And at the same time, so Lord gives him the divine ultimatum, and again asks him that you are actually failing to fulfill the promise that you have given in this sacrifice, in this yajna. So you should be condemned to go to hell. And this is where the chapter ends. So I won't go into the next thing which happened because that will be covered in the next chapter. But this is where the chapter ends. What we will do next is we will take a few important verses from this chapter, and we'll discuss and see what we can learn from this divine story. So I picked up a few verses. Firstly, and we'll again go through these 5 subheadings to see what we can learn. So in the first subsection, which was the cosmic ascent, it says that the verse 4 says that the water from Brahma's Kamandalu washed the lotus feet of Lord, and that same water became the river Ganga, which purifies the 3 worlds. So essentially what this signifies to us is that anything which comes in contact with the Lord becomes sanctified. Just like ordinary water became the holy Ganga just by touching the Lord's feet. Similarly, any actions that we do in our daily life, any simple action, cooking, working, speaking, everything, if offered to the divine, becomes prasadam. So it is not just something that we have to just go to the temple to get a prasadam, but any act of service that is directed towards the Supreme is itself a prasadam. And taking reference from the Bhagavad Gita, you can see that we perform, I mean, we can't, as Bhagavad Gita says in 3.5, it says that we can't even stop working for even a single second. We continuously do some or the other karmas. And in Bhagavad Gita 12.6, it says, Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara nanyanaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samudarta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavamina chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. So basically it says that sarvani karmani, so all your actions, surrender all your actions to me. To me means to Krishna. And what Krishna promises in return, he says that tesham aham samudharta. So I will deliver that person from the cycle of suffering and liberate him from the ocean of material existence. And he says nachira, means not without any long delay. I will offer liberation to that such a person who surrenders all his actions. So the actions could be from the actions of the body, actions of the mind, actions of the thought. So basically meditation, meaning thinking of the Lord all the time, actions of your mind, and surrendering all your physical actions. So everything should be done in relation to Krishna. Similarly, there means the entire Bhagavad Gita, there are many shlokas which emphasize this point. In 9.27, it says you don't have to do any special work. It just says yat karosi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapashashi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So don't try to do some special work for Krishna that you don't do normally. But whatever you do, so whatever you do, yat karosi yad ashnasi, whatever you eat, yad juhoshi. Whatever you offer as rituals, worship, etc., and whatever you give as a charity or helping others, etc., and whatever penance you perform, everything try to want to do it as an offering to the Lord. Then again in 18.56 Bhagavad Gita, it says this similar thing. It says sarva karmani api sada kurvano mad vipashya mad prasada davapnoti shashvatam padam avyam. So again, and through though engaged in all kinds of activities, one who takes shelter of me by my grace attains the eternal and imperishable abode. So basically, you don't need to change what you are doing, but change the reason why and for whom you are doing. So basically, you're doing it for Krishna. Now, that doesn't mean that you are always thinking about the deity form of Krishna. So what you have to do is, again, in Bhagavad Gita, it says that Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranishyami sachamena pranishyati. So basically, if suppose you are doing a work for your family, for your wife, for your son, for your daughter, then do it as a service to Krishna. So basically, you don't have to think of the deity form of Krishna, but see Krishna in them. So see Krishna in their heart, see Krishna in their very presence, and Krishna is definitely in every person. So when you are doing it, your attitude just needs to change. A person who sees Krishna everywhere, for that person, Krishna is never lost, and Krishna always thinks of that person as well. So both ways, they are always in each other's mind. And that's how the great devotees, they always have the Lord in their mind, and they can literally see, and that's why you hear, for example, in Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas will say, Siya Ram my subject jani. So the whole world I can see as Siya Ram. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Thavra Jangam deke na deke tar murti sarvatra hai nija ishtadev smriti. So any immovable or movable objects, everywhere I can see Ishtadev, my Ishtadev, that's Krishna Murti. So that is similar way that we have to do our work. Now, the second aspect, the second subsection, moving on, Bali Mahārāja says to his Asuric soldiers, demonic soldiers, he says that right now, in verse number between 20 to 22, it says that no person, however powerful, can surpass the Supreme Lord who brings about happiness and distress of all living beings through the agency of time. So he says the time is not favorable right now. So dear Asuric friends, there's no point in attacking Lord Vamana or the Devtas. Previously, you have defeated all these Devtas, but today the time is not right for you. That is what King Bali Maharaj tells them. And so what can we learn from that? So basically it teaches that Bali Maharaj teaches the concept of equanimity. So it says that good days and bad days that happen in our life, they are governed by Kala or time. So sometimes everybody has some good days and some days are bad. So you have the happy days and the sad days. So that is all governed by kala or time. And there's no point in fighting against that. Now, what lesson can we learn? So it's the lesson that we can learn is a devotee should not become arrogant in victory or despondent in defeat. Both are temporary phases, and these phases do not come without the sanction of Lord. So there is a sanction of the Lord. So you may think that only the good things comes with the mercy of Lord, and the bad things happen just like that. No, everything is sanctioned by the Lord. The true strength is not in fighting destiny, but in accepting the Lord's will with grace. Now, here I would like to open up and ask a few quick questions because there's a very important point that we have to understand that both good and bad are ultimately sanctioned by the Lord. Now, it says that we are governed by the kala or time. Now, can anybody just speak out and say, what do you understand by we are governed by kala or time? How does God uh, control that situation? Because this is an important point, and this is the thing that everybody has a question as to we are governed by time, and so we are bound. So what are we supposed to do? Anybody has got any ideas or thoughts on this? What does it mean? We are accept the Lord's will as kala or time. So how does time control you? Okay, you can raise your hands or speak out. Okay, yes,
Hare
Mataji, Sadhu
Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Somebody
Yes, Sadhu
else.
Mataji.
I can wait. I can wait.
No,
So,
Mataji. You carry on. Carry on.
okay, thank you. In my understanding, what I have read, time is Krishna. Krishna is the time, and you, for me, for instance, I don't think I have any control over it more than that. I have to really try to do whatever I can to concentrate myself to do the service, the devotional service, to learn to understand Krishna consciousness and so on. So the, the, there is no anything that I can do with, that I can have control over the time. Time is not mine. Time is Krishna. Krishna has control over the time.
Yeah, so so all the good days and bad days that comes in your life is totally out of your control. Is that what you want to say, Mataji?
Yes, because he also says that he's the supreme controller of everything.
So does that mean that you you can't do anything about what is happening in your life?
In my belief, in my understanding, whatever is happening is destined to happen. It's 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 it was planned to happen, but whatever I do now, it could determine what it will be afterwards. But whatever is happening for me, whatever happened to me, to my health or whatever, is because of previous, whatever it was with previous. So whatever I saw the see now by the way of my practice.
Okay, okay, Mataji. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Sorry, or is there somebody else who wanted to?
Yeah, well, I understand it to be meaning that it's here and now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Time, and we're given this time by Supreme. It's up to us how we use it, because He's given us umpteen times, many, many millions, thousands of births.
Mhm.
It's up to us to rectify it or not. So we have a choice, and He actually give us this free will. What do we do about it? Do we
Okay.
do we wallow over what's gone? And do we, assume what's going to happen and keep on living in that frame when you can't even live today properly?
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. And yeah, I mean, it's important thing to ponder is how much of your life is predetermined and how much really free will do you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so I'll take over, unless somebody else wants to say anything. Okay, so basically, thank you for both the answers, very wonderful answers. So as Mataji rightly said, Krishna is the all-encompassing force of time, as in Bhagavad Gita 11.32, Krishna himself says, Kalosmi loka kshatrut pravruddho lokan samahartu miha pravrutta rittepi tvam na bhavishanti sarve yavastita pratyanikeshu yoddha. So basically, I am the mighty time, the source of destruction. This is the famous verse which Oppenheimer also used when the first atomic bomb was tested. That time I am the great destroyer of the world. So basically, Krishna himself says, "Yes, time I am," and everything here except you, the Pandavas, are going to die. That's what he said. And that specific important thing is even without your participation. So whether Arjuna you want to fight or you quit and don't fight. I have already decided this, and both the armies are not going into, and nobody else is going to exist. So he gives a follow up to Arjuna and says, just be an instrument in my plan. So tasmat tvam uttishta yasho labasva jitva shatrun bhungsva rajyam samruddham maya vaite nihitaha purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. So just become a nimitta. Nimitta means a mere instrument. So basically, therefore, stand up, Arjuna, and conquer your enemies, because your enemies have already been killed by me, and so you conquer your enemies and enjoy this prosperous kingdom, because these warriors have already been slain by me, and so you just become a mere instrument in my plan. And he uses a special name for Arjuna here. He says, "Oh, Savya Sachin." Now, what does Savya Sachin mean? Means somebody who can shoot arrows with both the hands, so right hand and the left hand equally. And that's what Arjuna was. So he uses this special name at this spot because he wants to make it clear that by asking him to be a mere instrument, it doesn't mean that Arjuna can just relax and just go off to sleep or just lie down and just throw the arrows just as he wants. No, he says, be a Savya Sachin. So you fight with your full might. Okay? So just because Krishna has got a plan doesn't mean that we don't carry on our karma we just lay back and relax. No, you do your duty with the maximum excellence. So that is the karma, but with minimum stress. So do with maximum excellence as best as you can, but with minimum stress, because the results are not in your hand, and that result has already been planned by me. So that is the secret, of your karma, is that do everything to the best of your ability, but don't worry about the result. So never think that because things are planned, the time is bad or the time is good. So I just relax because Krishna is going to do whatever he wishes. No, you do your best, but with a minimum stress, because whatever Krishna has planned will happen. Whatever result is going to come will come, but I put in my best. That is the most important thing. And uh, the burden is on the flow of time. Basically means the burden is of the result is on Krishna. And you have to remember, one name for Krishna or for God is Mangal Bhavan Amangal Hari. So he is a Mangal Bhavan. Mangal Bhavan means very auspicious. He cannot CNNOT, cannot do anything bad for us. So although the results immediately that we get may appear bad, in the long run, that is not exactly bad for you. It is the best that can happen to you, though you may not recognize at that time when things go very bad. Things go very bad in your life, but that is the best that can happen to you. That is the plan of Krishna, because he sees the long-term picture, but we don't see that. Now, as Sadhu Mataji rightly said, so this all comes to the laws of karma. So I briefly go through the laws of karma because this is sometimes confusing. Some of you may not know the terminologies and what exactly it means and what control we have. Because when we hear all this talk, sometimes we get a feeling that do we really have any self will or willpower or any free will, or is everything determined? So that's where the laws of karma is important to understand. So I'll quickly go very, very briefly. So there are three types of karma that we do or experience. One is sanchit karma. Sanchit karma is the warehouse or the storehouse. So basically, this is the vast reservoir of all the actions that you have, results of all the actions that you have ever performed in this life or previous lifetimes. But they haven't yielded the result. So basically, even in this life, if you see your own life, you would have seen that there are many mistakes that we have done, but we never got any result for that. It doesn't mean that that we have escaped, or maybe there are. It's very, very. It's almost impossible for anyone to not have done any mistakes in their life. So each one of us have done many mistakes, some big, some small, and not all of them have given us the results. Some of them have got unnoticed, and we think that we have escaped the result, but no. In the material justice, yes, you have escaped, but in the divine justice, not even a single karma goes unnoticed. Okay, because Krishna is already in your heart, so nothing gets unnoticed. So that forms the big storehouse of Sanchit karma. What next happens is at the time of birth, or when Krishna gives you the human birth, or in any type of birth, a set portion of this prarabdha, of the Sanchit karma is taken, and you are given this physical body. So that is called the prarabdha karma. So a set amount of karma that you are supposed to experience in this particular life is given. And in human life, it is usually a mix of pap karma and punya karma. So pious activity and sinful activity. And that's why in human life, you have a mix of both happiness, distress, though the proportions may vary, but usually you have that sort of thing. Whereas if only all your pious activities are taken and you're given the result, you go to heavenly planets. And if only the sinful activity are taken and you're given to experience, then you go to the hellish planets. But in human birth, you usually have a balance of two. It's not always 50-50%. It could be very varied, but usually there is a balance. So not one person can say that he only has got only miseries in his life. Not one person can say that he's only had only pleasures in his life or happiness in his life. So what are the things that are determined? Your physical body, this is already determined. Your birth, in whose family you take birth, those are usually determined by this prarabdha karma. And the major unchangeable big events in your life, like when your child is born, when will you have first child, and the sort of persons you marry, and all those things. So big things are usually determined. And this is the allocated portion or the prarabdha karma. And when Krishna says kala, it is not that Krishna has got some envy or anger that, oh, these demons are very bad and the devtas are very good. Okay, so I don't like these demons, so I'm going to punish them a bit more than the devtas. No, he is actually someone who is equal to everybody. All the jivas, both the devtas and the asuras, are ultimately his children. Because as Krishna says, 15.7, Mamevansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanata. Every jiva, every life form is his part and parcel. So it is not that Krishna tries to do bad for one and good for others. No, it is all your own prarabdha karma. It is all your own karma that gives you the result. But Krishna is the ultimate supervisor, and his rule is that there always be a divine justice. So even the smallest things that we think that we have escaped in this material world, doing so many mistakes and not got any result for it, don't worry, we will get it at some point. So there's no escaping karma. The third type of karma is the present action, that is called the kriyaman karma, that we are performing right now. So here we have this full independence, what you want to do. But again, like for example, my prarabdha karma is so bad that suppose I want to, like in my school days, or I wanted to be a doctor or an engineer, and I try very hard. But if my prarabdha karma is so bad, despite studying hard and despite making my full effort, it may be that I may never succeed in getting it if my prarabdha karma is so determined that no, he is not going to. So although kriyaman karma, you are allowed to do the effort, sometimes the prarabdha karma may be so strong. That's why Krishna says you have a right to action, but no right to the reaction. So we have the full right to try for any effort to get a result, but the result is not in our hands, and it depends on so many things. It is not that Krishna has got some hidden agenda and doesn't want me to succeed in a particular field. It's all based on our previous actions. Okay, so just in brief summary, so Sanchit karma is the latent or hidden past accumulated actions. Prarabdha is of those past, the result that which we are experiencing in this present life is the prarabdha karma, and kriyaman karma is what the new actions that we are performing right now. Okay, So based on this, the important principle that we need to remember is in Brahma Vivarta Purana, it says, Avashyameva bhuktavyam kritam karma shubhashubham, na bhuktam shiyeta karma kalpakoti sadarapi. It is not that, okay, I haven't experienced, when somebody, we go through our whole life and we know that we have committed certain sins, but we have never got a result. So we may feel like, oh, we have escaped it. No, it says that this Avashyameva bhuktavyam, don't worry, the actions or karma will not perish. So sometimes we see some sinful person, they are living a happy life and we think, oh, they're not getting any result. They're living such a happy life. And we are trying to be pious, but still facing so many miseries. No, don't worry. That actions do not perish. Even after hundreds of millions of kalpas, means one kalpa means one day of Brahma with so many trillions of, 4.32 billion of years. Even despite that, the actions do not perish. One must inevitably face the consequences of their deeds, either pious or impious. So it doesn't go away. But there is one rule where it goes away. So Krishna firstly tells that his impartial nature. First, he just confirms in Bhagavad Gita that I am impartial. I don't hold any grudge against anybody. So his impartial nature is said in Bhagavad Gita 9.29. He says, Sammoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshasti na priya ye bhajanti tu bham bhaktya maiteshu chapyam. So I don't envy anybody. I don't have any dvesha to anybody, nor is somebody very, very dear to me. Not like, oh, this person is very dear to me. No, it's not empirical like that. He's sammoham, he's equal to everybody. But he says that those who are devoted to me, but those who worship me with devotion, they are in me and I am in them. So a devotee gets a special favor. Now, what that favor is, we will see, because he can't be partial. So he's not partial with the karmas, but he bestows some special mercy on the devotees. Now, what that is, we'll see in shortly. Now, how is karma superseded by the grace of Krishna? So that's what we are going to see. He says in Brahma Samhita 5.54, Yasvindra Gopa Matvendra Mahosva Karma Bandhanurupa Phala Bhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirdhati Kintucha Bhakti Bhajam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So basically, he says that Yatvindra Gopam, so that small insect called Indra Gop, it's a very tiny insect. I don't know what that insect is, but a tiny insect, or the king of the heaven, Indra. So even a tiny insect, or even if a king Indra, both of them have to means without fail have to experience the results of their past karma. But what he does is that for the devotee, what Krishna does special is he burns up the roots of all the accumulated karma. So as we said, there are three karmas: the sanchita karma, the prarabdha karma, and kriyaman karma. So basically, the prarabdha Krishna doesn't touch. The kriyaman that you are doing right now, Krishna allows you to do whatever you want. But your sanchita, your accumulated from so many millions of lifetimes, he burns all that up. Okay, so that is the specialty of the devotional service. He burns up all your accumulated karma of many, many lifetimes that you haven't experienced the results of. But the prarabdha that you're experiencing in this present life, usually, I say usually means, so this the majority rule, means there are always exceptions to everything. But in general, he will let that go through. And also, he will allow you the kriyaman karma, means the new karmas that you're doing, even that is allowed. But for the devotee, he burns out all the old karmas. Now, why is that? You may think that is impartial. No, because Krishna's rule is he's got a weakness. Anybody who surrenders to Krishna, the surrender doesn't mean that, oh, partial surrender. It is the full surrender. Then he takes responsibility for them, and so that is what he does. Okay. Whereas the other person who just thinks that I will do everything by my self effort, for that person, Krishna says, okay, you can do it by your own self effort. So it is not an impartiality, but this is what Krishna does to somebody who is a devotee and who surrenders completely to Krishna. So we'll see what that surrender actually means, because we may have a conception of surrender, but that may not be the real surrender that Krishna is looking for. Okay. Now, the systematic destruction of sin or papa occurs in the process of bhakti. So it is a systematic process. It is not like haphazardly some of the sins get destroyed. In Padma Purana, it says that aprarabdha phalam papam putam bijam phalonmukam kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. So what happens is that for those who are engaged in devotional service of Vishnu, the aprarabdha. Aprarabdha means that which you haven't experienced the result, or which hasn't manifest, hasn't begun, and that which is lying as a dormant desire, existing in a seed form and almost ready to mature but is not yet matured. Those sort of results are gradually and completely destroyed. Okay, so they sequentially destroyed or gradually and completely destroyed. So that is why even in pure devotees, like for example in Srila Prabhupada or in any major devotee's life, whenever you read the story, you see that they are still suffering, Prabhuji. Some of them get cancer, some of them still suffer despite us knowing that they are great devotees. Yes, because it is like the fan analogy. So basically, when a fan is going fast and we turn off the switch, the fan doesn't immediately come to a stop. It still goes on with its momentum, and it goes on till the end of this life. So it experiences all the prarabdha which is still there. So basically, they are going through the prarabdha. But what happens is that although we see them as suffering, internally, those high devotees who are completely surrendered to the Lord, they don't see that as a suffering. I know of a devotee in Vrindavan right now who's got kidney failure. Means both his kidneys are completely failed. He's on dialysis for at least last 18 years, and he is completely surrendered devotee. So he has got swelling, joint pains, everything else, but actually he's completely surrendered. But he says he's in bliss, and there are almost millions of people who come to just have a glimpse of this particular devotee, and this devotee is in full bliss. So basically, although from our side, our perspective, we see that, oh no, he's suffering, his body seems swollen, his eyes are swollen, his joints are aching. But if you ask the devotee, he will say, I am in bliss, I'm happy, because his mind is completely in Radha Krishna. So this is what happens. Although externally we may see that this devotee is suffering, internally that devotee is actually not suffering. How the devotees should perceive the suffering, the karma, and and experience the mercy of the divine. So basically, in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a very famous verse which which Prabhupada quotes several times. Satyenu kampam susamikshamano gunjana evatma kritam vipakam budvag vapurbir vidadan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya. So basically, as we understood so far, that anything bad that comes in your life, we think we have to remember that it's all happening because of our past karma, and also it is happening with the full sanction of Krishna. Okay, so both things are there, and we have already they told that Krishna is Mangal Bhavan, so he cannot do anything bad for us, although the results may be bad at the time, but the overall picture is it's not bad. So basically, a real devotee is one who earnestly waits for the mercy to manifest, but quietly endures the fruit of one past misdeed. So basically, if I get a physical suffering, a big physical disease right now, the devotee should not complain, oh, why is Krishna not taking this pain off? I could do devotional service better if only he takes away this disease or that disease from me. If this thing gets better, that thing gets better. No, the devotee would never complain. He would quietly endure the fruit of his own past deeds, while at the same time still paying respectful obeisances to the Lord with heart, words, and body. For such a person, Krishna says that he he rightfully gets liberation. So liberation, mukti, is also so. Don't consider mukti means, oh, it is impersonal. Nothing like that. So it is almost similar. So yeah, mukti also means the ultimate the salvation. Okay, so that mukti is granted to them as they are the rightful, they are become the rightful heir to liberation. Just like a son rightfully inherits the father's wealth, similarly such a devotee rightfully inherits the Goloka planet, or the Vaishnava Loka after death. Okay, so they rightfully inherit that from Krishna. Uh, but what is the precondition is that they don't complain about what they are suffering right now. They endure it without complaining or feeling that it's God who's giving me all this misery. No, but at the same time also respectfully paying obeisances to Krishna in both heart, words, and body. So they rightfully get the liberation. So this is the way of a devotee should live. Now, one important thing at the same time is with all this intricacies of karma that we have seen, it says that that's futile. It means this human life is so precious, and we shouldn't waste this whole human life with again doing the same thing that we have done in the fast. So basically chasing material happiness, yes, and not showing an urgency for spiritual pursuit. So this important thing we have to remember to take from this class is that the spiritual pursuit can be done only in the human form of life. You can't do it in an animal form of life or any other 8.4 million species, any other species of life. The spiritual pursuit, meaning to attain Krishna or to get out of the cycle of karma, only can happen in this human form of life. So if we waste this human life just to become a billionaire or a trillionaire, you are still going to die. It's not going to stop you from that. So you have experienced a bit of material happiness, but what's that of that? Means some of the material happiness that you're destined, you will definitely get, and the material sadness, it doesn't mean the billionaires don't get their share of material sadness, they get it. So you have just added a little bit quota of material happiness, which you are ultimately not going to help. It's going to perish. So what is the point? Instead, use this human life for the main purpose for which it has been given, that is to attain Krishna, the prema, okay, and to get away from the cycle of birth and death. So this is the famous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, again, which Prabhupada quotes many times, many times. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यद् भ्रमताम् उपर्यदा तल्लभ्यते दुःखवदनेत सुखं कालेन सर्वत्र गभीर रमसा. So tasyaiva heto. So actual intelligent and spiritually inclined people, they will not endeavor for getting more material pleasures, meaning not to become more rich, have 10 cars and big bungalow. No, it is not going to help, because whatever level of happiness you are destined, you will definitely get. Just like miseries, I never try to get any misery in my life, but miseries somehow come just on their own accord because of your prarabdha karma. Similarly, the happiness that you are destined will come, material happiness. So why make waste the entire human life just for getting more material happiness, which you are anyway going to get? Instead, use it for one thing which you cannot get in any other form of life, which is the spiritual pursuit, to attain Krishna and prema, which you can't get in any other form of life. So this is the important thing that we should never lose focus of. And try to keep reanalyzing as to how we are spending our human form of life. So the rarity and fragility of human life means it comes everywhere. I always like to tell this. So it says Durlabho Manush, Srimad Bhagavatam, Durlabho Manusho Deho Dehinam Shana Bangura Tatrapi Durlabha Manye Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. So this human form of life is very, very rare, very, very rare, very difficult to obtain. But even rarer than that is more rarer than the human birth is to meet somebody who is a pure devotee of Lord. So we all on this call are very, very fortunate. Although we haven't physically associated with Prabhupada, means you are doing, Dharmendra Prabhu is doing great service, you are still associating with the Srimad Bhagavatam of Prabhupada purports and everything. So we are still in connection. It's not the physical connection which is important. Is this connection to somebody who is dear to the Lord, to the Supreme Lord. So to get an association of a true devotee is even rarer than human birth. So firstly, human birth is rare, and second, to get the association of a devotee who directs us in the right way is even more rare. So that we get. And why are these great souls so important and really transformative? What is so special about them? So it says in Narad Bhakti Sutra, it says Mat Sangastu Durlabo Agamyo Amogascha. So basically, he says such great devotees like Prabhupada or this, like there are few really pure devotees, but there'll be just handful in this world. The company of these souls are firstly durlabo. Durlabo means very rare to obtain, difficult to obtain. But even if you obtain, the second thing, it says agamyo. Agamyo means difficult to practice. Now, the problem is, although we have associated with Prabhupada, the problem is we can't follow all his instructions. So that is the problem. The problem is not that we haven't associated with Prabhupada, we are associating, but all the rules that he gives, how much of those are we really putting into practice? How many of us can still do the chanting? And he says not just 16 rounds, as many as you can. So we, at the most, some of us can do 16 regularly, which not everybody can do, and all those things. So we are not, that's the problem, that although we got the association, the instructions or the rules we are not able to follow. But if you were to follow, the Narada Bhakti Sutra gives a guarantee. It says it is amoghashcha. Amoghashcha means unfailing. It is a guarantee. So like if you follow the Prabhupada's instructions to the T without fail, you are 100% guaranteed. There's no 99%. So it is unfailing in its effect. So that is the greatness of these rare souls, this company of these great souls. And how do we get association of these great souls? Um, and tad labhyatepi tat kripayaiva. So even association of these great souls, if you look back, it's only happened because of the kripa of Krishna. So Krishna's kripa was made you associate with Prabhupada and the devotees and stuff. So if you look back, there was a kripa. You may think, oh no, I made my own effort. No, at some point there was a kripa, and you may not even have noticed it. In Ramcharitmanas, when Vibhishan, Vibhishan, we always complain that there's so much problems in doing devotional practice. Prabhuji, it's Kali Yuga, so many material life, I don't have a good association and all those things. But Vibhishan, he lived among the demons, asuras. So in Ravan, I mean, there people used to, there's no saintly person in Sri Lanka or Lanka, and he still practiced his devotional service. He was the only person there. But he was a little bit dejected, or I mean, he felt a bit sad that I have no association, but I just continue with my devotional service. But the day he saw Hanuman, he said to Hanuman, he was so pleased. He said, Ab mohi bhabaruso Hanumanta vinuhari kripa milahi nahi santa. So, Vibhishan expresses his joy, and he says, Oh Hanuman, now I have got full confidence in Lord Krishna, that Lord Rama is still looking at me. Because without the kripa of Lord Rama, I could not have met a pure devotee like you, Hanuman. So whenever we meet a pure devotee, understand that it's because of kripa of Lord Krishna that you have associated here. If you look back at your own life, each one of you there would have been some circumstances which have led you to getting more deeply associated with Krishna consciousness, and those circumstances you should consider as kripa of Krishna. Now, coming back to the story, so the third subheading that we looked at this chapter summary was the integrity of promise, that is Satyam. The key verse is verse 33. Is that it says that Vamana Dev says to Bali Mahārāja, it says, one who promises to give to a seeker but fails to do so, then his desires is frustrated and he will have to fall in hell. Now, what can we learn from this? So it emphasizes that truth, or Satyam, is the foundation of spiritual life. Okay. Now, what exactly do we mean by this? The important thing is that spiritual progress, if we are hypocritical, so basically showing off the devotion to others just by regularly appearing first in the queue of every puja, kirtan and stuff, but internally we know that we are a hypocrite. We are just maybe in front of others, we are showing that we are a great devotee, but when nobody's observing, we are doing our own silly things. So those sort of hypocritical things is a real stumbling block in devotional service. So basically, and that is something which God or Krishna, who knows each and every action inside out, absolutely doesn't like it. Somebody who doesn't act, is sincere, and may not appear in the front of the queues or show off in front of others, their devotional service, and may not exhibit much of these external features, but internally is a great devotee. Those persons are the ones who are not hypocritical, is favored by Lord Rama. So in the value of simplicity and sincerity over hypocrisy, this is very, very key for practicing devotees. So we don't practice devotional service to show off to other fellow devotees that, look, I am a greater devotee. No, because your hypocrisy, the others may consider you as a great devotee, but you are hypocritical, and Lord Krishna or Rama knows it completely. So in Ramcharitmanas it says, Nirmal manajan so mohi bhava, mohe chal chidrana bhava, mohe kapat chal chidrana bhava. So this thing is absolute no for Lord Rama or Krishna. So it says, and that only a person with a pure and stainless mind can truly attain me. So he doesn't like deceit, that is hypocrisy, or cunning or fraud, or somebody who finds fault in others. So basically, when we may see, oh, that person is not a devotee, Prabhuji, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do that. No, never find fault in others. That thing is absolutely God hates. So never find fault in others. And more importantly, even if you find a fault, don't say it to others, meaning, oh, look, listen, this person is bad. No, because you can't control your own thoughts, but at least don't speak it out. Because in Kali Yuga, there is one special mercy, that manas pap, anything that you think which is sinful, though the thoughts may come and you contemplate over it, that is not considered sin in this Kali Yuga. So it is not put in your karma register. But if you say it to others, then that becomes your karma. So even if you think that, oh, that person is doing something wrong, keep it to yourself. Don't talk about the fault of others with somebody else. And this is unfortunately, unfortunately, everybody has got. In material life, we always gossip and talk about others. So this should not be brought into the spiritual practice or devotional practice. This is extremely he doesn't like at all. It's absolutely clear. Rama is absolutely clear. Now, coming to the fourth subsection of the chapter, the test of Sharanagati, or the divine squeeze. Now, you see in this section here, you see that Bali Maharaj has offered whatever he has got. So he's offered the hellish planets, and the heavenly planets is already gone, already taken over by Vamana. But still, Lord Vamana is binding him with the ropes of Varuna. Means everybody feels aghast as to what sort of Lord is this. I mean, he's given whatever he's got, and this Lord is so without any mercy. He's just binding this person. What is this? Means any material person would think absolutely the same way. Means as to what sort of God is this? Absolutely no heart. This God has got no mercy. He has done whatever he has got, and he didn't fight, he didn't complain, but still you are binding him. So that is the actual test of Sharanagati. So basically, here it says that even though bound by the ropes of Varuna, Bali remained fixed in its intelligence. But still, the Lord is criticizing him and warning him and reprimanding him, saying him that you promised to give 3 steps, 2 are covered. Now provide the third, otherwise I bind you. So this is the ultimate test. Often the Lord takes away the devotee's material attachments and everything to see how is the devotion really strong? Is this real Sharanagati? Is this real devotion? So that test is done when the God puts us through this sort of difficult tests. And this is one of the ultimate tests. So the lesson for us to learn is that a practicing devotee should not think that this external bondage, like the troubles and illness and loss that we experience in our life, doesn't mean that the Lord has abandoned us. Remember always, it means one thing to always remember is Lord cannot do anything amangal to us. He is our Father, eternal Father, cannot do anything amangal, nothing bad for us. But these things are things which we have to endure. Okay, so although these sort of illness, the binding of Bali, we know the story, so we can easily understand. Yes, this is the highest form of mercy that the God offers. Okay, because this is the only thing now, that one which is keeping Bali Maharaj bound, despite giving everything, is his sense of I and mine. So those also God tries to take away, because that's the only thing which is keeping us in the material mode, in the material world. So Sansruti Mul Sul Pradhanana Sakala Shokadayak Abhimana. The only one thing that is keeping you in this material world is your Abhiman, your I-ness, your minus. So God is attacking that as well. So externally it may feel like he's so merciless, this God. He's so harsh to Bali Maharaj, but this is his actual highest mercy. And this is what we'll try to explore. So what is this harsh mercy of the divine? What exactly is this? In Srimad Bhagavatam, which again Prabhupada quotes from his own personal life experience, he quotes it's Yasyaham anugrihhnami harisheta dhanam shanai tato dhanam tyajantyasya svajana dukkha dukkhitam. So on somebody who is a devotee and I do my special mercy, I actually take away, deprive him all of his wealth. So harisheta dhanam shanai, the wealth is taken away. Now what happens in the material world? The most important thing is the wealth or the dhan. And as soon as the wealth goes away, your friend no longer remains your friend. You try to, somebody who's a millionaire friend, everybody, there hundreds of people coming to be his friend. But as soon as he becomes a pauper, those 100 people, maybe 99 would disappear instantly. So the same thing. So that is what God does. He takes away all the wealth, and the relatives and the friends will no longer be seen. So that they will automatically abandon such a person, and he suffers one distress after another. But actually, that is for his purification. So in Prabhupada, in his own life, his business started to fail. He was a very great businessman, and he used to always say that, oh, maybe I would have become like a Tata or a billionaire person. Everybody said like that. But later on, his business started to not work. It started to fail. He entered into loss. and so much loss that even they didn't have money to buy the daily ration like tea or biscuits. And his in his Charitamrita, it is said that his wife also sold some of the papers of Bhagavad Gita, the transcripts that he had written, was sold to a raddi. A raddi means where they sell the scrap paper and get some money. And the wife bought some biscuits or tea. And Prabhupada at one point gave the choice as to either you want me to stay in this house or you want your tea or biscuit. And the wife said, I wanted my tea and biscuits. So it was probably not exactly as it is, but that's what is mentioned in the Prabhupada Lilamrita. And yeah, so basically, as long as you are earning money, you have hundreds of relatives and friends. And when you don't have any money, then that's when you know that nobody loves you for who you are. It is your money and your capacity that they love. And this reality check is what you learn from the great Acharya. So, and the reality check in Bhaja Govindam prayers by Shankaracharya. So again, another great devotee. Although Shankaracharya we consider as is criticized, though his philosophy is sometimes criticized, but actually he's a Vaishnavana Yatha Shambhu. He's a devotee, he is an incarnation of Lord Shiva himself, but he had come to perform a special duty. So he, in his Bhaja Govindam prayer, he says that, Yavat vittoparjana sakta tavan nij parivaro rakta paschat jivati jar jar dehe vartam kopi na prichati gehe. So he says, they don't mince words, they just say the truth as it is. That is the greatness of the Vedic literature and these great saints. They say it exactly as it is. So as long as a man is capable of earning wealth, until that time, all your family members are attached to you. But later on, some of you have seen in your own families, they have seen as soon as when he lives with a Varna and infirm body at the same house, nobody even bothers to ask about his welfare. So they are just left. As long as he was earning wealth, there were hundreds of all the relatives coming and talking to him. But when he becomes incapable of earning wealth, he becomes old, infirm, and dependent on others, the same is almost hardly anybody comes to ask of his welfare. And this is in Bhaja Govindam prayer. So it just tells you the exact truth that all these material relations and stuff that you're so proud of and so dependent on, they are not lasting ones. So depend on Krishna. So just to summarize, the core teaching here is the grace of the divine squeeze. So when our things go wrong in our life and not so well, the important thing to remember is that two things to remember. Firstly, all the prarabdha karma. So we should not sit that, oh, this is God's wish and I can't do anything. No. So the circumstances are what the prarabdha karma can bring. But whether to be happy or sad with that circumstance is entirely your choice. Okay. So remember that. So the sorrow and happiness is not determined by prarabdha karma, the circumstance. So it may be totally unfavorable circumstance. So because of the prarabdha karma, maybe it might happen that that some of some close relative of mine has died or something happens. But how you react to it is entirely your choice. Okay. So circumstance, whatever circumstance comes, accept it and make the most out of it. Okay, so the choice is yours. So this divine squeeze sort of things will happen at that time. Just consider it to be mercy of the Lord. So if you see in Narada Muni's own personal life, that a 5-year-old with just a single mother, and after doing all the service to the great Vaishnava acharyas who came and for 3 months, later on his one and only mother, at the age of 5, when he was still a young child, died. He didn't blame the Lord. He just took it as a mercy. So that's how we have to take. I mean, it's quite natural, to say, oh, I've done so much service and God has taken away the only mother I had. It's so not merciful. No, he considered it is the mercy of Lord, and he went on. So the circumstance, that is his mother having to die, was determined by his prarabdha, by his past karma. Who knows what the karma, the past is, but it happened. But he took it, the way he approached it, that is entirely his choice. So he didn't cry and he didn't blame the Lord and he didn't criticize the Lord. No, he took it as a mercy. So the core teaching here in this chapter is the divine squeeze. This contrasts the Bali's external bondage. Externally, what we see is that the bondage of Bali, and we think that, oh, Krishna is very merciless. But actually, it was all done to give him internal freedom that we don't see. Is that God takes away everything and he gives himself. That's the reason why he takes away everything. Okay, and so it shows the different side of divinity. He is a thief. He tries to take away our material ego, which is keeping us bound to this material world. He strips off the final layers of I and mind. Aham mameti, that is the janasya mohoyam. The only illusion in this world which is keeping us bound is the aham mameti. Whatever you can point in yourself as I is actually not you. A very important, big concept. And whatever you consider as mine is actually not yours. So the conclusion is the true devotion isn't about what we give to God. So we think that, oh, I'm giving this to God. I'm offering this, my service to God and all those things to God. No, it is about realizing nothing was ever ours. So even the service that we do is with the kripa of the Lord. Okay, so everything, even your own life. So Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, it says 7.10, Bijamam Sarva 7.9, Punyo Gandha Prithvivyam cha Tejas Chasmi Bhavasam Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. The life force within us is also Krishna. So to think that I'm doing this service for Krishna is no, I'm doing it with your mercy. I'm doing it back to you. So it is the attitude should be Twadiyam vastu govindam tubhyameva samarpay. It is your thing which I'm offering it back to you, and that is what Krishna wants. That is why he says Patram pushpam phalam toyam yeme bhaktya prachati tadam bhaktyo ashnami pretatmana. So give me this leaf, water, a flower, etc. Because it all belongs to Krishna. But it is just like your own child when he offers all the sweets that you bring and he gives back one chocolate to you, you feel happy. So that's the same thing that we are doing with Krishna. It's such an intimate relationship. But important to realize that nothing was ever ours to begin with. So it is not like Bali Mahārāja. He had the feeling that he was the one who gave, he's giving away to Vaman, and Vaman Dev is coming and begging to him. But Vaman Dev just showed him or made him realize that nothing of this actually ever belongs to you. I'm just taking back what was already mine. And I'll stop there. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing and then we can have some questions and discussion.
Hey, thank you very much, Kamal Prabhu. An excellent class as always. If anyone has any questions, please do raise your hands. I'll start off if that's okay, Prabhu. You talked about how we control to stop speaking about others, but that's quite a difficult act in itself. So what are the key components that you sort of think that we should be thinking about to stop ourselves from that?
Yeah, no, Prabhuji, this is key. It is something that none of us are immune to, and it is quite natural that you criticize. The important thing is, even if you are talking about like in certain positions, like as a manager or managerial positions, etc., you may have to do it for their benefit. So if your intention is good, so basically you're not trying to hide it from someone, meaning the important thing is to not be hypocritical about this, meaning so internally it is your internal purity that matters. So if somebody is saying something bad about others, and if the intention is for the improvement of that particular person, that is okay, because even if the other person or the person you're talking to may not know your internal state, your internal state is the most important thing, because you know that Krishna knows your internals. Okay, so that is the key, because it is almost impossible in this material world to completely be immune to that. Yes, there will be some instances either you are listening to, but if you can feel the malice of somebody else, because sometimes it's very obvious that this person is talking bad continuously just out of malice, then those things you should try to dissociate yourself, or we should try to dissociate ourselves from. But the secret is we are not trying to impress others or try to show off that we are pure and they are the ones who are talking bad. But it's our internal state we have to be pure. Means as long as we are pure in our internal state, even though externally we may come across as somebody who's talking bad about others, internally, if we are pure, we can be absolutely sure that Krishna knows this, and that's the main person who needs to know. That others, whatever they think about us, doesn't matter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Sadhvi Mataji, would you like to ask your question? Hare Krishna.
Yes, please. Thank you. I have actually two questions, but first I ask one and then I wait for others to have also to ask their question. My first question is, everything is owned by Supreme Lord Krishna, Vishnu, and that even Bali Maharaj was very good devotee to Vishnu. So why the need that Lord Vishnu comes in the form of Vamanadev to hide himself in the form of Vamanadev and do it that way? Why the need of that? Why not just to come and say, you know what, you did wrong, this is not yours, this is mine, out of here. You know what I mean? Why they need to do in that way? Thank you.
The first answer to any of these questions in spirituality, one important question, Mataji, is it is said before I answer the specific. One important thing they say is the why question is wrong when we ask up to God. Why is a wrong question when you question God? Why is that a wrong question? Because God, he is God because he is kartum, akartum, anyata kartum, sarva samartha Ishvara. So he can do, he's supremely independent. He can do whatever he wants. He can do completely opposite to what he should do. And he can not do any kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum. So kartum, he can do something which we assume is good. He cannot do, means we assume that this is good, what he should have done, but he will absolutely not do it, or he can do something exactly the opposite. So Ishwar, that is what a definition of God is. He's supremely independent. This is is the higher concept. Now coming to the specific, Mataji, is that as to why did he do this? Because right now they are going through the cycle of karma. So the Bali Maharaj, the reason why he was doing this yajna is because he wanted to become the Indra. So to become Indra, the rules are that is there in this material universe is that they have to perform 100 Ashwamedha yajna. That is the to become qualified to the post of Indra. And Indra is an appointed post. It is not a post where you forcibly go and become an Indra. So here, what was happening is that Bali Maharaj, they fought with the Devatas, they defeated them, and he was going to take the post of Indra. At the same time, this yajna, although it's not very clearly mentioned in this Bhagavatam, but reading all the commentaries of other acharyas and stuff, this was the 100th Ashwamedha yajna that he was doing. So once he has completed this, then he gets the qualification as well to become Indra. So this is what was going on. And before this got completed, that's when Vamanadev came and stopped it. So what Vamanadev did was he wants to give Bali Maharaj something more than the Indra post. Okay? Because Bali Maharaj, all he wanted, sometimes we think that we are doing the best for ourselves, but actually Krishna knows what is best for us more than what we know. For me, maybe becoming an Elon Musk would be my highest aim in life. But God knows that is not his highest name. So similarly, Bali Maharaj, for him, the highest aim is to become an Indra. So he was doing this 100th Ashwamedha yajna to become an Indra. But Vamanadev, Krishna, wanted to give him something more out of his own mercy. So that is why he enacted this, wherein he could take away his ego. And what Krishna did at the end, or Vamanadev did at the end, you will see in the subsequent chapters, is that at the end, when Bali Maharaj does Atma Nivedan, that is offers everything to him, that is surrenders ego as well, that is when Vamanadev offers him the Sutala Loka for this particular lifetime, and says that you reign there till the end of this Manvantara. Manvantara is like 71 Chaturyuga, so very long time. So one Indra stays for one Manvantara. So he says right now there is another Indra, that is his name is Purandar, that is the name of the current of the Indra at this particular time in the story. He says when that Indra finishes his time, then you will become the Indra. And to become the Indra, you have to complete this sacrifice. So at the end, he will say to Sukracharya, because this particular sacrifice is not complete, please complete this sacrifice. So he asked Sukracharya to continue the sacrifice and complete it to get him officially qualified in the material world. And that is the official qualification. 100 is completely done. So now he's qualified. And then at the end of this Manvantara, till the end of this Manvantara, go and enjoy in Sutala Loka. And you won't be able to enjoy by yourself because we need a family to enjoy. So you go to Sutala Loka. Prahlad Maharaj will also come to Sutala Loka. All your family members will come to Sutala Loka. And it's more opulent than the heavenly planets. Stay there. But because you had this subtle desire in your heart to become an Indra, I will fulfill that as well before taking you to Vaikuntha. So after the end of this Manvantara, the next Manvantara, he gives Bali Maharaj is going to be the next Indra for the next Manvantara, and then he will go to Vaikuntha. So the same thing happened with Dhruva Maharaj as well. Because when that happened, that Dhruva Maharaj saw Vishnu, his material desires completely disappeared. And he said, "Oh, I don't want anything." But God, what did he say? No, you rule this plant because that's what your wish was, original wish. So he fulfills both the desires and also offers that. So he's given something more to Bali Maharaj than even what he could anticipate. So actually, it was a greater mercy is done. But from our perspective, like when you listen to the story, we feel, why did he do all this? He could have just come as a God. No, he wanted to do this because he wanted to also keep the material order in place. So in the material rules, these are the things, because these are dharma rules are all given by God. It has come down through God. So he follows those rules. He doesn't break the karma rules. So he doesn't, like the prarabdha karma of a person, he will not break. Okay, now suppose, Prabhupada is very great devotee. He's the great devotee. Okay, now let's stop all his prarabdha. Let us cure his diabetes and all those things. No, he lets that happen because he doesn't want to break his own rule. Okay, so that is the greatest mercy of Krishna that we are not able to see. And this is done in such a way so that the non-devotees would question and they would say, oh, this God is merciful. But if you see the whole story, you'll see what Bali got was much more than what he could even have imagined. So all that he wanted was also, he got it, and he got much more than that, Mataji. Hope that helps, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Janakanya Mataji, would you like to ask your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare Krishna.
much. It's very rich what you have to discuss today, and very complex too, I think, for me. I was wondering, what's the difference between sin and mistakes? Because we make mistakes all the time, but you can rectify mistakes, but maybe not sin. And,
Yes.
and I think if your thoughts is ill thoughts is both mistake and sinful, because how do we get away from that? I mean, it's so complex. And you say if you are committed and you perform good, deep devotional service, you can wipe out your karma, your sins. Is that right?
So the karmas, meaning the sanchit karma, the whole store, which you haven't experienced or which you're not supposed to experience in this lifetime. So this lifetime you continue as it is, even if you become the final devotee. But the one after this, the old stock, which will lead you to your next birth and stuff, that is taken out. But that is only to the fully surrendered devotee. So it is not like, oh, I've done certain rounds of chanting and all those things. It is like the fully surrendered, where the ego is completely gone. Such persons are actually Jivan Mukta in this very life. Okay, so that's the definition of Jivan Mukta. So they are called living liberators. They are liberated, but they're still in this world. Now, coming to your question of Mataji, what actually is sin? This is really important, to make the distinction between what a sin is and what a mistake is. Okay? So sin, the only sin, or the 100% sin, is Bhagavad Vimukh, to be turned away from Krishna. That is the one and only sin. There is no other sin. Okay, all the other mistakes that happen, if it is with means to turning away from Krishna, meaning Krishna is the to turn away from Krishna is the greatest sin. So being a non-devotee is the greatest sin. The others are all mistakes. There could be big mistakes, small mistakes which you have to do, but the sin is sin. Sin is only turning away. So this is what is very, very It's important to understand that is the one and only 100% sin. The rest are all simple mistakes, no matter how much you do, but they are simple mistakes.
So
And
are
this
they
is a very
counted?
difficult concept to understand because what do you mean by turning away from Krishna? Turning away from Krishna means what exactly it means uh, is that the whole material existence is only because we are turned away from Krishna. So Krishna bhuli se jeev anadi bahirmukh ataiva maya tare de samsara jug. So anything and everything, Krishna is there in anything and everything. So I'm talking to you, this computer has got Krishna in it. So there is not even one atom which has got Krishna in it. Only thing is, as long as, so like the in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the whole Srimad Bhagavatam with so many chapters has got 4 seed verses. This is called the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. The 4 verses has got the entire philosophy of this entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And this was covered in Canto 2 itself. Those 4 verses have the seed verses. They have the whole philosophy compact in them that you will learn in this entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So of that, the definition of Maya is given there. So it says first seed verse is aham evasam evagre nanya yatsad asat param paschadham yetacha yovashishite sutyam. So I am the source of everything. That is the first seed verse. The second seed verse is ruttetam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyādatmano mayam yatha bhasayata tama. So anything and everything that you consider is separate from Krishna, that is an illusion or Maya. So the reason we commit sin is we think that we are enjoying this particular thing. See, I considering this body as mine, that is a sin. And that is the whole reason I'm in this material world. So this is the subtle point, the most deepest point. The other sins happen because of this primary sin. The primary sin is this body is mine, this is me, I want to enjoy. That is the main sin. We have false misidentification as we being completely separate from Krishna. That is the biggest sin or the real sin. If that sin goes away, the other sins are all mistakes. And that is what happens in a Jivan Mukta state. This is high philosophy. It will not come easily. It is not theoretically you understand and you become a liberated person tomorrow. That is why we do the chanting, because this comes with purification. As in the previous class when I did, I said you are not separate. How much distance were you from Krishna? You are not. There's no distance. The distance we are having distance is this primary sin where we consider ourselves to be completely separate and independent of the Lord. So anytime you consider yourself as independent, that is the main and primary sin, Mataji. So and the rest are all mistakes. And that sin, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Krishna bhairmukhaya bhogvancha kare. So thinking that I am separate from Krishna, I bhogvancha, I enjoy myself. Bhogvancha kare, nikatastha maya tare, jhapati yadare. So the maya catches me. That is it. Because I think I'm separate and I'm trying to enjoy. And this philosophy, although theoretically you may or may not understand, but this comes with the more with chanting and purification, it will come to you. And that is when they become a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta is not that they get a special wings or anything like that. Jivan Mukta is just this complete realization. And this realization flips the switch that after that, they may look like they're just like one of us, but that switch is so perfectly flipped that they become liberated even in this life. That externally they may look just like you and me acting the same way, but internally they're absolutely in bliss because that switch is flipped and they don't see themselves or anything. So it says in Bhagavad Gita itself, 7.19, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So God says, Krishna, he says in 8.14, he says, actually to get Krishna or me is very easy. I'm very easy to obtain. Anybody can get me. But to get a devotee, a true devotee of me is very difficult. Who is the true devotee? The true devotee is one who sees Krishna everywhere. He doesn't for a second see anything separate from Krishna. So Bahunam, and that how, when does it come? Bahunam, after several births. Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after several births and Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. He surrenders to me, saying that everything is Krishna. This is Krishna. So that is very difficult. So it is theoretically we may understand, but this will come, because that is what the mercy of the pure devotees. It is a seed which has been sown. Right now we can't understand it, but slowly it will mature. So just give it time, and that is the only thing matters. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Many, many years, and and we don't know about when it's going to happen.
Yeah,
So
no. So the many years is
that's time, I
that's,
suppose.
yeah. There's no time. Actually, nothing separates. It can happen this only second. The
Yeah.
liberation can never happen in time. The only time liberation happens is NOW, now. So although the many times it just says that it's so rare, that is why Krishna says that. But yeah, so it says that how rare it is, because for somebody to consider that Krishna is everywhere, to realize it, we can say I say theoretically, so it doesn't mean that I'm liberated, but that realization does happen, and those are the Jivan Mukta people. So they are eternally liberated. And the only greatest sin, Mataji said, is everywhere it said, once you consider yourself separate from Krishna, that's when your material life starts.
Well, that is ongoing, mixed in a way that nobody is totally thinking, all the time, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Well, I don't know anybody. So if you make mistakes in between. So does it get counted as, but you still think of Krishna? It depends on the percentage, of course. Is that how it's counted?
Yeah, so basically, even Nama Bhasa, everything helps, Mataji. But Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 18.17, he gives the secret that all those mistakes count. Yasya naham kruto bhavo buddhir yasya nilipete hatva api saima loka na hantina nibadyate. So if suppose I go and murder somebody, okay, so basically, but if, like, suppose one person is there, I totally hate him, I go and murder him. Now, the fact that I hate him, so rag and dvesh, the only thing that attaches us to somebody is either hate or attachment, means attraction. So rag and dvesh happens when I have this ahankar, that yes, I'm this person. So a person who has got no ahankar, yasya naham kruto bhavo, one who doesn't have any ahankar, that's no ego, even if he kills somebody, uh, he's not bound. But without ahankar, you will not do all this work. So it is a difficult thing to understand. But Krishna tells clearly, Yasya naham kruto bhavo buddhir yasya nilipyate hatva api saimal loka na hantina nibadyate. So he actually does not kill because he didn't have the ahankar to kill. So this is so difficult to understand, Mataji, but it will happen. It will happen slowly. The ahankar is the one which, as I said, Sansruti Mul Sul Pradhanana Shakal Shokdak Abhimana. This ahankar is the one which has bound us to the material world. So, and the way this ahankar goes off is with purification. And the way with purification, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Shastakam, the first and only verse, Cheto Darpana Marjan. So to purify the mind. And Mataji, the class will basically be a very long class, but the mind thing about how the thoughts come, that's a perfect spiritual science, because there is something called a spurna, which is some thoughts which randomly come in your mind. Those are not your generated thoughts; they randomly come. You're not responsible for those. But once the thoughts come, if you have attachment or aversion to those thoughts, then you become implicated. So suppose a random thought comes because in your mind, that is called spurna. Then it becomes a sankalp. So this is a big science. I probably will not go into much detail, but it's a big science, Mataji. So we should not worry about any bad thoughts that are coming in your mind. As long as you don't get attached to those thoughts, they just come and go.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we attach to those thoughts and start worrying. Oh, I got this bad thoughts all the time. So as long as you don't attach to them, they are not yours, because you are not your mind. So if you understand that, then you're not attached to them and you won't take action on them. That's the secret of mental actions, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you very much. Can you remind us the 4 verses in chapter 2?
So it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.33, 3.4, 3.5, and 3.6. There may be some variability in that. So it tells about everything that you need to know, the entire philosophy compacted into 4 verses, but they are so difficult to understand. so that you have to understand really with from through the purports, and also the purports itself may be slightly difficult, so you have to understand it with a proper
With some help
usage.
from you,
Yeah,
Mary.
Please
no,
forgive me.
I'm not a great Mataji, but yeah, means you learn it from
Yeah.
Please forgive me. You
Oh,
say
but that's a
Please forgive me. You say 2.9.
2.9.33 onwards. I mean,
yeah.
so let me double check that, because
Thank you.
it contains everything that the ultimate philosophy of what we are learning in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because it is nice sometimes. I mean, it's easy if we talk the superficially and you feel nice, but the underlying principle, if it's clear, then the other things make the perfect sense. Otherwise, that's the reason it's better to even if it's difficult, it's better to understand that uh, that fully. Mataji, let me just double check that. So it is 2.9.33, 34, 35, and 36. Just the
Thank you so
four
much
verses.
for
Hare Krishna.
taking the time, so much time to explain to us, because it's very, very rich in your thought. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Mataji. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay. And are you happy to take the second question from Sadhu Mataji, Prabhu? Are you okay?
If Mataji still wants to ask, yes, definitely.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. There is two situations I'm thinking when I'm thinking about how Bali Maharaj didn't listen to his spiritual master. And in my understanding, spiritual master is very important that you obey and listen and obey. Otherwise, it's offense, right? This is what
Yes.
I have learned. At the same time, there's a principle and things that you have to follow because of the tradition or whatever it is that says that you have to do when someone asks you something, you can't say no. For instance, Yudhishthira, he could say no to the gambling, but he did gambling, still he gambled. So how to understand these two situations? One way, Bali Maharaj and spiritual master, I can understand somewhat because he was devoted to Lord Vishnu. But Yudhishthira's not saying no to the gambling, that I have difficulty to understand. Please help me to understand it. Thank you.
No. Thank you, Mataji. So, firstly, about your guru, as you said, Mataji, you understood that. So, the main thing in guru concept is that in Ramcharitmanas it comes, जाके नहीं राम वैदेही तजिए taisam kotisam yadyapi param sanehi. So even if somebody is very, very close to you, reject that person if he is not if he is saying something which is against Rama and Krishna, means against your devotional service or against your relation with Krishna. That is the main rule. And even if the person who says that is very, very close to you, and they give examples like Prahlad Maharaja rejected his father, Bali Maharaj rejected his guru, and who else? There are several examples he gives, but one of the example is Bali Maharaj rejecting his teacher because the teacher was asking him to do something against Lord Vishnu. So when that happens, that is the only time you can reject somebody and you are perfectly fine. So when somebody, even if your father or your mother says that Krishna is true, don't do that, then that's the time you are allowed to. Because even Mirabai asked Tulsidas was contemporary of Mirabai, the great ascetic devotee. So she asked that my brother-in-law, they are all totally against my devotional service, and now they have physically, when they have done so many, or they have put so many obstacles in my path. Now, what should I do? I don't understand. Means the Loka Dharma says that I should be with my family, I should keep their honor and all those things, but they have put so many obstacles. What should I do? So he writes this verse and says that Jake Priyana, if somebody is against this, at that time you are allowed to just completely reject them, even if they are your closest relative. Okay, so that's the answer to the first one. The second one is about Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Yudhishthir Maharaj doing gambling, that means that is not justified in any way. So I don't consider that action as something that should be followed. It probably happened by his meaning. We call certain things which are supposed to happen, like for example, if a prarabdha is there for him to be exiled, such thoughts come in your mind, and that'll be everything that will push you. For example, if suppose there is a person who who who's an extremely bad sinner, I'm riding a car, driving my car. He needs to die today because his prarabdha. By suppose, and then I get this thought in my mind. So this is just very hypothetical situation that no, I need to drive fast. I need to go somewhere. I need to break the traffic rules because I need to reach someplace. So those things are happening together. Now, if those thoughts come in my mind, it is a thought, but the final action, you still have your own self will to say, no, I should not ride at fast speed because that person needs to die at that point. You may get certain things, certain what you call the impulse of bad action. Sometimes comes in your mind, and those could be because of several reasons. The impulse that comes in your mind is not your own action. You have the choice in those whether to act on it or not to act on it. So I think this Yudhishthira Maharaj thing is probably an impulse or something. I don't to be fair, it's not something that we should see it as a principle to be followed as to why he did it. It was something probably that was destined to happen, and so he had this to do it. But it's not something to follow. Ajit. Sorry, I can't answer that in any other way.
Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.